Before we even get started, I think we should talk about some of the ways that you shouldn't make money online. Remember when we first got started, we started doing those online surveys.
Yes. One of the most funniest ones was, do you remember that group that we had when we would all take turns on clicking on each other's blogs?
Yes, yeah. Do you remember the name of that?
That was Ad Dynamo. It's a South African version of Google AdSense.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the algorithm that Google AdSense has that could pick up the IP addresses clicking on blogs. But eventually they became a bit more advanced, and they started catching people out because they picked up the IP pattern between all the blogs.
It's pretty much like a group of 10 people just clicking on each other's ads. And I think like a month that we did well, we made like 1,000 rand in a month.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the risk of absolutely destroying all credibility that your blog has.
I think they call it ad click farms or something. So that's definitely one way that we shouldn't make money online. Because you kind of run in circles, you're chasing your own tail, you're not building true value online. So that's probably like the biggest tip is do something that actually provides value and that's sustainable. Like Google, the Google AdSense algorithm, Facebook algorithm, Google AdWords. They're just getting way too smart to try and trick. You can't trick a system into giving you money.
Exactly. And I've seen this before with people that have asked us about blogging before. They think, I've started getting revenue in even a month by doing this hack, link building, or tricking, getting a keyword density just right, or using clickbait on social media to kind of boost the revenue. And you are fine. It might work for a day or two, but really, what are you're wasting your time because it's just a temporary
fix.
Temporary.
Yeah.
And it needs the whole object because you want to be able to build a good foundation and build on top of that.
Like how many times have we woke up in the morning only to realize our business has been shut down because of trying a hack?
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not even worth having that money if you can't go to bed at night being confident that you wake up and still there. Exactly.
The faster it comes, the easier you can lose it. But that's why you take your time and build a good, solid foundation and also provide real value with good content.
It's probably worth saying that this entire list, 14 ways how to make money online, is kind of focused around providing real value and getting yourself trained into a niche that you can grow in, you can build good repertoire, and you can, climb the ladder, if you want to call it that.
Some of these are going to be more hands-on with a faster return, and others are going to be very slow returns with a lot of upfront investment with time and money. But as time goes by, it requires less and less input and a more sort of passive income. Some of these things on our list, for example, freelance writer or copywriter, video editor, you're working per hour doing work. The only real difference is you can do it remotely. Whereas your more passive investments would be starting a blog, for example, requires a huge amount of initial investments, time and also money. And you won't see anything for sometimes, some of the blogs don't bring anything in for up to a year. In writing, for example, if you're sick for a day, you're not going to earn a cent that day.
Let's think about the person watching this video. First of all, I think they want instant income. They can't wait 6 to 12 months. Second thing is that they're probably working a full-time job. So let's start with where we started. Quick fixes, something that you can do right now to make money online, and then we can kind of go up the ladder. Like once you called that, and that can replace your full-time job, then the next step, which was the next step we took, was e-commerce.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing on the list here is freelance writer. Even though we don't do freelance writing for other people, as you know, we've got a few freelance writers that we use for our blogs. So how it works is usually you get paid per article. You go through an induction, which is usually you learn the format that the writing company would require of their freelance writers. You learn the WordPress platform, and then you will probably be required to also learn the topic of the blog that you'd be assigned to. And what's nice is you can work in your own time. You get paid per article, and you can work from anywhere.
I remember I did a online freelancing job, and I think I did one. I wrote all those articles, and the writer hated them. I mean, the employee hated them. So anyways, they took the money back, and that was kind of the end of the beginning. But anyway, so the point of that
is first lesson of there's no shortcuts.
Exactly. There's no shortcuts. So the first thing I have to say about freelance writing is, if you're not a passionate writer, just don't even try. If you feel like writing is pulling teeth, then again, just don't give it a try. It's something you can't force. I don't know, watching this video, if you're a passionate writer or not. And if you are, then I mean, this is something you can get started literally tomorrow. Earnings potential: a new writer can earn anything between 250 Rand for 1,300 words. To more experienced writers can earn anything up from like 1,000 to 2,000 Rand.
Well-researched article.
For sure. And the best way to get started is go to platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and compete with price. So there's a lot of people that they get reviews coming through and at a very low price before they start hiking their prices. Because reviews is the name of the game when it comes to platforms like that.
I think this is something also that's worth talking about while we're at it. And I see this a lot when people are like asking us for some advice. Part of your initial investment is sometimes to make content at a loss. Just to build yourself a good reputation. And this applies, I mean, I'm helping someone with an Airbnb, and I know nothing about Airbnb, but I can tell you now that it's all about the reviews. It's all about your reputation. So it's sometimes worthwhile for an Airbnb for example, to literally just break even on their bookings for the first, as far as you can afford it, or just make a small profit rather than think you're going to make a killing.
So literally, like some actionable advice, if I was getting back into this, starting out, I would go onto like Fiverr and Upwork, look at how much people generally charge, and put up the listing for like half that. I mean, anything is better than nothing. And people are willing to take a chance, try new writers out, and if the work is good, the reviews will come in, and then only then, once you get like rating like 50 reviews, then you can start playing around with the price point.
So a freelance writer is quite broad, and most people that are good at writing can do that. Should we talk more about more technical things, video editing, graphic designing?
I mean, I guess we haven't done any of that personally, but we have gotten people to do the work for us.
We use the freelancers all the time in that department, don't we?
Yeah, especially graphic designing. So skills you need, what kind of personality type that you need for graphic designing. You need
communication, good communication.
Very good communication. So many times.
That's probably our biggest pain point is trying to explain a theme or a concept to a designer, and they just come back with something that was nothing like we imagined. Yeah. So I think communication is huge, and that's sometimes a problem with freelancers, because a lot of freelancers are foreign, and there's always this language barrier that I find to be such a broken telephone effect.
How much do they get paid? Really, I would say about 80 Rand an hour. Yeah?
If we talk about a product render, for example, or a banner, how much does a banner cost to make? About $500?
Around, yeah.
What would you say? It's about 5 hours work, 4 hours work.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really depends on the kind of work you're doing, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess again, it also heavily depends on your skill level, how many reviews you have. So again, going back to Fiverr and Upwork, it's probably the best place to get started with it. And then play the numbers game. Come in cheap, get a ton of reviews, and then start playing around with the price.
Isn't that that's known as the Amazon method?
Amazon method.
Provide the same product at a price so low no one can compete. Completely flush them out of the market, and then push the price up because you can name it.
Seems to be the name of the game. And also, if you build a reputation for yourself, I mean, people talk. How many times have we picked up a graphic designer? I mean, Brandon recommended a 3D renderer to me 3 years ago, and I'm still using it in person.
Yeah, cool. And from an employer's point of view, once you find someone that gets something right, you do not switch.
Yeah,
it's the same as finding a hairdresser that can give you a good haircut. Why would you not go back? It's just not worth the risk of forking out the money and not getting it the quality that you're expecting.
Exactly.
So if you can prove yourself and build up a good client base, you're going to be golden for a long time.
Sure.
In fact, if some of our existing graphic designers came to us today and doubled their price, I'm sure you'd agree we'd still stay with them. We wouldn't be happy about it, but we wouldn't switch over because just from convenience point of view, it's not worth our while to do a switch.
We literally have to go through like 5 to 10 different ones before you find one that actually works. And the same thing goes with writers, web developers. Like once you find somebody that's worth your money, you're going to hang on. It's the same thing with staff. I guess it all relates.
Exactly. And also even though you are paying a freelancer, you're also investing your time into that person, to training that person what you expect, how you your own personality. They get to know what kind of work you want. They get to know your brand. So the designs are going to be more aligned with your brand.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
It's almost like a switching mode. Like it's very hard to switch.
It's a switching mode. You're boarding the switching mode.
100%. Let's quickly run through video editing. Just obviously, again, if that's something like personal interest of yours, then that's another good route you can go. We haven't hired too many video editors. I think we've done like 1 or 2 jobs here and there. But things like animation, people like to get like video and animations done for marketing purposes. A lot of people, I mean, like this video we're shooting now, a lot of people hire video editors to sequence the video right and make it watchable. And in terms of monetary value, you see,
I think monetary value can, because you can get a beginner just on Wondershare for more, just literally cutting and splicing.
Yeah.
Which could be really, really cheap, and anyone can get started.
Yeah.
But then you can get someone who can integrate effects, who can integrate and provide stock video footage, who can do text overlays. So it just depends on your skill set.
Yeah. I made some notes here. So earnings potential. Starting out, I mean, you can easily earn like $100 a job, very easily. And then you can work your way up to, I mean, name your price once you get the reviews coming through, like up to people pay from 5,000 to 10,000 Rand a job. And again, I mean, all of these things we're talking about, it's the US that predominantly employs you. So for them, $200 for a job is nothing, but obviously for you as a South African, I mean, $200 for a day's work, anybody will be happy with that.
You're leveraging your currency like crazy.
Exactly. It won't be long until you can quit your job. Starting out, probably like Facebook videos. I know that's quite popular. People use videos for Facebook marketing. So
yes,
what people tend to do is they record their product, or even what some people do is they post off their product to you, and then once they get their hands on the product, then they actually shoot and edit the videos themselves.
Yes,
so that's one way of doing it.
I guess also it can be anywhere from being full-on product reviews to something as simple as a boomerang.
Exactly.
Boarding a boomerang and to something, or 5-second snippets, right to sometimes an hours and hours of video editing, which is obviously going to be the biggest jobs, like 10,000 rand a job kind of category.
Sure. The most difficult one starting out will probably be the sales video. So definitely don't dive into that first, because you need to understand copywriting, and unless you have a marketing background, I wouldn't tap into that one. But yeah, like you said, unboxing and like product and use videos, or just editing videos.
A voiceover artist.
Oh, voiceover artist, yeah.
What's your experience?
So the reason why I put this one in was because, I mean, to be honest, I've not even hired anyone to do this either. But I know there's a huge need for it. So voiceover artists, like once a video editor creates the video for you, like generally you would like somebody to read out a script, like a sales script. So I mean, you can even, if you're interested in video editing and you got a good voice, you're happy to do you can do combo. So what I usually see is a lot of people offer a gig on Fiverr that they'll do video editing service, and then they upsell it, they add it as an extra, where if you want a voiceover. So voiceover is, I mean, it's easy. All you need is a good microphone, very good quality microphone. I mean, that's about it, and just an enthusiastic voice. I mean, I could never do it because I sound so plain. But like if you're a bubbly person and you're very enthusiastic, and you get your feelings across quite well, then this could be the perfect job for you.
It's worth mentioning accents. If you're a good South African voiceover, and you can tap into the South African markets, I can tell you there's very few people with South African accents in the voiceover business. Especially if you can approach a South African sort of brand or company that's doing digital marketing, they don't want American accents selling a South African product. I mean, can you imagine one of our brow plank product being narrated by an American? It just wouldn't make sense.
It's a brand, yeah.
It would lose credibility as a South African brand. It would look like it's an American trying to just tap into the South African market, and it creates all sorts of insecurities about the purchase. So
South Africa,
that the accent brings is huge.
Yeah, and South Africans are actually in a good position, because even though we can't use American accents, Americans sure as hell will use South African accents, because I've noticed a huge trend in America that they're starting to they like to use like British accents and different accents, as long as your first language is English and you can speak it will do well.
I think
because
it's definitely the opposite effect in the States. Because us South Africans, we're always watching American movies, and when we see an advert that has any hint of American, it's almost like South Africans' brains are so fine-tuned to pick up anything American in our adverts, and it's almost a turn on, because then you start thinking about, okay, is it going to get shipped from America? Is this a scam? Is this just a generic bunch of information that's been thrown together in a video to try and sell me a PDF of some sort? There's just so many levels of insecurity. But I think in the States, like you said, it's not so much that, it's actually just grabs your attention.
Yeah, because it's not normal.
They don't hear it on the TV and that kind of thing.
Breaks through the noise, No, you're right.
It's amazing how it has such a different effect, just depending on who you are, where you are.
Sure. So to build the skills needed, I mean, the best place to start on most of these projects is just go onto YouTube. YouTube is the best place to learn. You don't need to, I mean, for 99% of what we're telling you today, you don't need to spend a cent. Just go to YouTube, get the stuff that you need, like microphones, video edits, a good computer for video editing or whatever. Just get started. Just pick a project, start learning, and learn as you go.
And having said that, don't let lack of funds or equipment stop you from doing it. If you have a whole computer average microphone. Just
Get
get your
started.
foot in the door and just do something.
Yeah.
Like we're doing with this video. We're not good at videos at all, but we just
Just want to get started.
Just get started.
Exactly.
You're gonna get better. You're
Yeah.
just gonna get better. But the only way to get better is to actually do it.
You learn as you go.
Transcribing. So if as a transcriber, you'd probably want to apply with some of these apps like rev.com. Not so?
Yeah. That usually is the best place to start. I mean, there's also transcribers on Upwork and Fiverr. Yeah, that's another place to get started. Compete with price. If somebody does a ton of transcribing, and you do a good job, then they'll usually stick to you. But yeah, usually good platforms. Earnings potential.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But I looked on Fiverr. People are charging around 150 Rand for like 15 minutes between two speakers.
So I think the skill to have for this is very much typing speed. If you can sit down and type as fast as the video is playing or the audio is playing, you're going to do well. But if you find yourself having to pause the video, type, you're really not going to get your time and your money's worth.
No, I agree. I'm trying to think. So when we did transcribe for rev.com, the biggest problem was getting work, kind of like baby feed you a few projects here and there. So, it's probably best to subscribe on like all Fiverr, Upwork, and rev.com, and then just try to
build relationships with actual clients.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. Transcribing for different languages. Do you think there's much demand for Afrikaans transcribing or Zulu transcribing? Is it something that you've thought about?
So we actually used the Afrikaans transcriber, more translator. In terms of just transcribing, probably not. I don't know. It's worth a test because not many people are doing it on Fiverr and platforms like that. Who knows? It could be, even though there's not a lot of work for it, at least when people do look, you'll be the only one popping up.
But I guess as an added benefit, if you're on Fiverr or Upwork and you put a listing there, like you say, for Afrikaans and English transcribing, you're definitely gonna probably have a one up on other people that don't have the Afrikaans if someone needs Afrikaans transcribing. What's next?
Cool. So the next one, Facebook marketing for local businesses. Yeah, so this takes a bit of know-how up front. But again, it's all stuff you can learn online. Obviously, we do Facebook marketing, but e-commerce. But what I can tell you is Facebook marketing for local businesses is a lot easier. There's a lot less variables you need to play around with. It's pretty much you think about kind of your offer for the local business. You jump into the ad platform, you create your ad, and what you do is you can select the business location, a 60-kilometer radius, so it targets people around the business, and then you just start running ads. So in terms of how long it will take you to learn that, obviously it depends on how computer literate you are. But you could learn that in like a few months.
And really, local marketing is almost essential for almost all businesses these days. Whether you're e-commerce or whether you're a mechanic, if you don't get in on it, if you own your business and you're listening, you need to get in on this right now. It's changed how a lot of things work. Whereas before, you're like, I know a guy, I've got a business card lying in my car somewhere, or I've saved this guy's contact number. It's not like that anymore. So how would you say someone wanting to start Facebook marketing, how would they get clients?
Let me quickly talk about the earnings potential. So earnings potential, you can earn per client like 5,000 to 10,000 Rand a month per client, and the kind of workload on that, it's a bit of setting up, but once you kind of hit on the marketing message, and you know what you're doing, it will only take like a few hours a month, literally, to keep that campaign running. So finding clients, probably the best way is to, again, compete, do it for free, learn the skills you need, go to your favorite restaurant, and just offer to advertise for them for free for 2 months. Just say, listen here, I think Facebook advertising will help your business. Can I please do a trial run with your company for 2 months? And if I provide, then we can look into monetary.
You have to be pretty aware of the costs involved and convey that to the business as well. I mean,
for sure.
Even though you're not taking something for yourself, you might want to ask the owner to cover the ad costs.
And they should understand that.
Yeah, as long as you're transparent, let them have access to the Facebook platform, have insight on the existing campaign. You can print reports as proof, and just always keep them up to date, even if it's daily. Look, your ad spend for today was this, your ad spend for today was that. Just to be transparent. Very important. If you do want to get into this line, it's going to be very important for you to really understand what you're doing and to be able to communicate with the business how it works. Sometimes a Facebook campaign can have a very delayed reaction, so they might not really see a return for the first 3 months. Sometimes they forget to put value on leads. So if a lead doesn't buy now, it doesn't mean it's not going to buy later. So it's very important to convey those things to your prospective customer.
Because a lot of the times you can't track monetary value bringing into the business with local businesses.
Yes.
Small walk-ins, and so that's usually where the drop-off happens. Because you can't say, listen, I guarantee you this ad resulted in 10 walk-ins into your store, because there's no way of tracking it. And then they lose, they get cold feet, and then they don't want to leave.
Well, actually, what can even happen is they might get a huge influx of walk-ins and then think, wow, we don't need our ads anymore because we're getting all these walk-ins.
Which is pretty much what happens to us.
They fail to connect the fact that actually the walk-ins are from the ads. Yeah.
Which kind of brings me on the business that you approach. Make sure that you love the business. There's nothing worse than marketing a business that you don't believe in. And then second of all is the person that you have to work with, whether that's the manager, the business owner. Just get in your initial meeting, get a sense if they like to micromanage, because there's nothing worse than like every step of the way they question what you're doing and why are you doing this, why are you doing that. Just doubting every decision you make. So just be extremely picky with who you work with, because again, even from your side, you don't want to be put off this with your first clients. You want the experience to be as good as possible for both them and yourself.
So where to find work? You reckon knock on doors, make phone calls, just get off your butts and get out there?
We all go to restaurants, we go to gyms, we think about anything local. I mean, gyms and restaurants are actually the perfect place to start. And again,
I think a better tactic than just doing cold calling and knocking might be to start looking around your day-to-day activities. If you go to a restaurant 3-4 times a week on your lunch break, and you really think, wow, what a cool business, I love it here so much. Have a chat with the manager and start feeling.
100%. Like that comics, that restaurant in Durban North, comics.
Yes, lovely.
I was even thinking at one point when we were doing this, I was thinking of doing that. I mean, the people watching this video will know what we mean, I think, because we all have that 2 or 3 businesses that we like extremely passionate about. Just don't go to Virgin Active though and ask if you can advertise for them, because I mean, major corporations like that, they tend to already have marketing strategies in place.
Look, there's very little we can offer those kinds of companies.
Don't go to Spur or just local mommy and daddy shops.
Your little small town businesses, coffee shops, hardware stores, anything that's not franchised actually. And the next one on our list, manage business social media pages, and this can actually be combined with the Facebook advertising.
Yeah, it can. And I mean, this is extremely easy. All you have to do is manage the pages. I mean, engage like a Facebook page, a company Facebook pages. Just make sure the posts go on the page every month. I mean, every week or whatever the company wants. And make sure somebody is engaging with the audience, replying to comments. which is
And
probably
you
the
know
biggest,
how important this is. This is
you know,
incredibly important.
especially if they're running Facebook ads, because
If you have
comments.
a Facebook page and you're running a business and you haven't looked at your page for the past 6 months, you better go and look and make sure that it's tidy, because things can get out of hand.
Yeah,
You need someone managing your page.
you also have products on your page and
Mm.
just negativity. I mean, Facebook on itself, it's like we used to call it an argumate.
Yes.
A nice
Yes.
place for people to argue.
And your haters can build followers on your own page.
Yeah.
The worst thing.
So yeah, I mean,
So,
earnings
so how would
potential.
you get started, and what earnings potential in your experience, dude?
Earnings potential. I mean, you can charge anything between 1,000 to 2,000 rand a month. Bearing in mind, there's platforms that you can do a lot of this stuff automated. But anyway, so starting out, I mean, you can easily, just on your own, you can easily manage like 10 to 15 clients a month. So the platform that you can kind of automate the process is called Hootsuite. So what you do is you kind of schedule out the month. Let's say if you have 5 clients, you can get away with just doing a day's work, schedule them for a month, and just let it run.
And tell me, where would you draw the line between managing a page and getting involved with the company's customer service?
Like page management generally is to schedule posts and all that. Like a company, I mean, it depends on how big the company is. If they do have a customer service department, then really that customer service department should be on the page managing comments and all that. Let's say it's a hardware store and they don't run Facebook marketing or anything. Then I would say, you kind of, so what you could do is have like different tiers. Like your entry level tier is you'll make sure that posts are published for let's say 1,000 rand a month, and then a second tier package on top of that. You can say, we'll handle the comments as well for extra 500 rand a month. That being said, though, be very picky with who you offer that package to. If you have somebody, let's say, spending 100,000 rand on Facebook ads a month, then obviously it's not worth your time or money.
It will be. I mean, as you know, we have people working full time running pages, literally 4 8-hour days, just replying to customers. It can destroy you.
Time sucker, and not even like 9 to 5. It extends past that.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like customers are waiting until everyone's asleep to put complaints in the Facebook page, because then no one can reply on time.
Exactly.
So it can be very stressful. So like you say, be very careful who you offer that to. You don't want to offer that service also to controversial products either. Something like that might be easy, like you say, for a hardware store, but if someone is selling a controversial medical product, you're not really going to want to get involved with that kind of thing. You definitely insist that you have a customer service team dealing with that.
And to be honest, I mean, because you're not a medical doctor or anything, you probably shouldn't be involved in that anyways.
True.
But so it's heavily scenario dependent. Where to find work? I mean, same as the previous one, Facebook marketing. Just offer the service to people companies you love, and just grow from there. And
if you know how to do Facebook marketing, why not use Facebook marketing to get customers for Facebook marketing?
Exactly. Like you can, once you've proven your worth for Facebook marketing, you can be like, hey, I also do Facebook page management. You can even explain to them why it's so important, which just in case you're wondering why it is so important, like depending on how managed your Facebook page is, it can affect your Facebook advertising costs. So that's why you want a page to be managed. And also it's just good. It's good for your audience that engages with your brand, which will also help you with Facebook ads directly.
So should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think, you got a lot to say about this one. Online customer service.
Online customer service agent. Yes, I do have a lot to say about this, because when Calvin and I started doing our online work, we would do everything. We were product fulfillment, we were marketing, we were website development, we were email marketing, and we were also customer service agents. And I can say that it's very, very, very time consuming. And like we spoke earlier, when it comes to page management. Say again?
Energy consuming as well.
Very, and you gotta be a special kind of person as well. I wouldn't recommend this for a soft person. Customers, when they order online, there's that detachment. It's similar to, I don't know if you've noticed road rage. When you have this barrier between you and another person, they feel like they can tell you almost anything that they would never have told you to your face. So they really say some of the most vicious things, and it can be very stressful. Also, you might have complaints at 10 o'clock at night that actually can't be left to fester, and you might have to suck it up and sort it out in the middle of the night. Online customer service, also you'll have to know a lot about the product of the company that you're freelancing for. Some of the pros is definitely you can work from anywhere. Unfortunately, you can't work in your own time.
No.
But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think personality type is probably the biggest factor. You got to be full of energy, snappy on the go, bubbly.
People love that.
And also, if you're the type of person that will lash back at a customer, this job's not for you. The employer,
don't even go there. Yeah,
you go there. So you need a lot of self-control, definitely, a ton of self-control. Yeah. In terms of, did you say how much the earnings potential? Did you talk about that?
Yes. Well, it's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on the detail of the product, the amount of products, because your product knowledge is going to be very important. Or is it something you can do for multiple companies at a time? Is it so in depth that you're working basically full time from home for one company? So you can get started at $6,000, and if you do well, I can imagine you climb the ladder quite fast.
And again, leveraging the dollar. If you manage to pick up a job on Upwork from an American, expect to triple, quadruple that.
Quite easily, yeah, quite easily.
Best way to get started: Upwork, Fiverr. I've seen a lot of customer service agents there. Compete with price, get those reviews coming in, and then take it from there.
Tell me your thoughts on how it works with regards to working for a single company or being a customer service agent for multiple companies. What are your pros and cons, and what do you think is actually in reality what's going to happen?
I know a lot of people do it for multiple companies.
Okay.
As a South African, I mean, you're in a pretty good spot. If you pick up a company and you do a good job, and you decide to pick up a second company, I mean, you can start building your own team in South Africa.
True.
You know, you can easily hire somebody in South Africa for 6,000 rand a month, and then get paid 20,000 rand a month for a job, and then just use that money to grow your team so you can take on more clients. So as you build up expertise and stuff, I mean, definitely is a good opportunity.
Yeah, I quite like that model. Okay, how to build the skills needed?
YouTube. I mean, I'm going to say that all the time, I think. YouTube is amazing. You can learn anything.
Always,
yeah. Just find somebody that provides a lot of value in the niche. Binge watch all of their videos.
Yeah, so how to build the skills needed? You can look on YouTube, but you would need to know how to work with your basic email platforms and definitely social media. It's going to be your main social media. But most people these days are so familiar with Facebook. I mean, everyone's got a page of some sort, whether it's a hobby or a little side business.
Let's jump to product rendering. I mean, it relates to video editing. If you're a gamer and you like doing or you think you might be interested in 3D renderings and stuff like that, this is definitely for you. So we've actually been using Dalibor on Fiverr for the past 3 years, and just to give you an idea of how much you can make. So we pay him for 3 images, which I'm guessing takes him probably 20 minutes to render. You pay him 400 rand. So probably the biggest thing is just having a proper setup. I mean, most computers and laptops today will be able to render. But obviously, the the faster your computer is, the faster you'll get to get the work done. And then again, just start with Upwork and Fiverr, get in at a low price. The one thing, Daily Boy is so popular now because he's got so many reviews. Literally every time I need work done, he puts me on a waiting list. So it takes about 10 days before he even starts the work. That being said, the work that he does is really
so once you've got a good following, this proves that we're not going to switch to anyone else because we need him, essentially. He knows what we expect. He knows the format we need the files in. He knows what lighting we like. He knows the packaging that we use.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity.
Product photography.
So yeah, I mean,
this could be really fun. I could imagine this being a real cool little hobby, and then you can turn that into, if you're a photographer and you love photography, this is right down your alley. And it's an opportunity to really get your hands on like really cool products. If you can convince cool brands to send you stuff, I mean, that's awesome.
The only downside to this job, I think, is when you offer your skills on Upwork and Fiverr, a lot of your clients are going to be American. And because it's so important to get your hands on the product, the only kind of roadblock I see is it will take quite a while for the product to come into the country. But I mean, if you really price yourself well, it might be something an American company will be willing to wait, because they could save a ton of money using a South African.
What you could also do is, if you could, in one way or another, integrate the shipping cost into your fee, and offer to have the product collected from the business, you could really make it very easy for your customer.
Actually.
And if you've got a good reputation and you've done enough work to get enough reviews at a fair price, and then you can really name your price. Once you've built up that client base that trusts you, you can really make it worth your while.
If you do your job listing, just make it as easy as possible for the customer. Just say we arrange collection and everything. Free of charge.
Huge selling points.
How to build the skills, YouTube. So I think you need a bit of passion for this before getting started into it. Like if you've never been interested in photography, I don't recommend you just pick up the hobby just for money, because it probably won't work out. There's quite a lot that goes into, because you need to learn a lot. Go on YouTube, go through videos, photography tips.
I mean, there's a reason. If you're just going to use your phone's camera with a white wall behind it on a table, there's a reason why the business owner doesn't just do that himself. He's expecting really good quality photos. So you need to have an in-depth knowledge of photography. You need to have the equipment. You need to have a white box. Most of the times you need a white box to get the best lighting and to get that white background that most e-commerce stores want.
We'll just
do the next one.
Let's quickly just jump to copywriting.
Okay.
So a lot of people get confused between blogging and copywriting. So the main difference is blogging, you're writing content to just to help a reader, or to provide a piece of interest. There's no end goal for the article. Whereas copywriting, you're writing the copywriting with the full intention of converting the reader into a customer, or a lead, or something like that.
Right. Okay.
Takes a ton of know-how. Copywriting is one of those things where you don't start with. I would highly recommend starting with blogging, and once you become a good writer, then jump into copywriting. Earnings potential can be huge. I wanted to chat about that South African we paid to do that one sales piece we did for. We paid 20,000 rand for that, but that was literally like 1,500 words, 20,000 rand. So this is something that if you are really passionate about marketing, and and you're a really good writer, yeah, this is something you can get into and make essentially a ton of money. I know of copywriters that they don't even charge a monetary value because they're so the work is so valuable, they're so good at what they do. They charge a percentage of sales that piece of copywriting has made. So in a sense, they get a chunk of the business, which can amount to millions of rands, literally.
Yeah. It's very, very in depth. I mean, this is way out of my sort of scope, but I think you got quite a lot to offer to say about this.
Yeah. So how would
you get started with copywriting?
I would start with blogging.
Never written before. Start with blogging.
I would start with blogging.
At what point do you think an average writer could make the switch from blogging to actually copywriting?
I guess it's got to do with your interest. Like if you have an interest in marketing, like you're just not satisfied with blogging. The best, that's probably the best route is create a blog for yourself, and then once it starts getting traffic, then you push out an info product, or even use your blogging traffic to sell something, and then you start getting into writing your own sales pages. And then you're gonna obviously have to learn how to do that, and I guess if you got a good knack for it, then you can pursuing that, doing it for other people. It's probably the best.
And how long do you think it takes to cultivate like a really, really high level of know-how? It's probably years.
Years, definitely. So the best way to learn is YouTube videos, finding successful copywriters, and literally printing out what I would do is print out their copywriting piece and just write out word for word what they wrote. And then as you're writing out, highlight different sentences, find out why they wrote that sentence that way, what are they trying to get the reader to feel, do.
There's a lot of psychology involved as well.
A ton of psychology. So at the very base of it all, you need to know your marketing fundamentals. Best way to start is probably go to copyhackers.com. Copyhackers.com is probably, so they break down a lot of sales pieces and explain what elements are for what reason, the purpose of each element. So that way, just start going through their blog posts, just consume as much of their content as possible. And then a book, Adweek Copywriting Handbook by Joseph Sugarman. That was also pretty good and easy to understand. As a beginner, I'd probably start with that book before diving into breakthrough advertising. It's tailored to your beginner. But yeah, more importantly, just practice. Write as much as possible. Probably overrules everything, because then you get a sense of what works and what doesn't. And
but back to the list. Drop shipping. We've experimented with this a lot. As South Africans, this is probably something that I would not recommend. We've done drop shipping on 2 different stores, and for us, shipping is just a huge issue. The only place you can really solve or automate the process is through, I see you got it on here, Alibaba, AliExpress. I know with AliExpress you can use an app called Herbalo for WordPress. In fact, you can use it on Shopify as well, I think.
As well, yeah.
Where you can automate everything. Where a customer, you can list things you find on AliExpress onto your own little Shopify store, and when a customer buys it, they pay you, and it automatically places the order on AliExpress with the customer's shipping details, and it pays. That's all good and dandy until it hits the South African post office.
Or they call it the import.
Yeah, import duties, because the customer will all of a sudden get a phone call from SARS saying, no, you got to pay this to clear your product with customs. The post office will take months to ship it. Do you remember we offered a policy, if you don't get your product in a month, we'll refund you in full?
Yeah, something that
it's just not feasible. It's just just wasn't feasible. Bid or buy could be an option, but it's going to be a very manual, hands-on sort of process. If it's something that you want to scale into a huge operation, it's going to be very, very labor intensive. You probably have to get some help. Every day you'd have to go process all of the orders, go to bid or buy, and enter each order with the customer's shipping details, make a payment, and you have to do it over and over and over. So you're really limited to your time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Another thing is stock. Like, how many times did we sell something and then look into AliExpress and Alibaba and that they change the pricing, or everything out of stock? It's just like the complexity is just like, I know people do it successfully in the United States and maybe some other countries, but I think in South Africa specifically, because of the border and all that, people do fees and our local post office.
If someone was insistent on doing this, I would recommend that you find a local shop that would give you a supplier's discount or a reseller's discount. And then what you could do is run a Shopify store with all of their products on your shop. And then once a day, you export those orders to a spreadsheet, and you calculate how much you owe the supplier, and you send that list with the payment to the supplier with an arrangement that the supplier sends it directly to the customer, and you keep the difference. You remember we did that with the supplier with the supplements, and it worked quite well. The problem we had was our margins were very small, only 15%, but it was pretty profitable. We could have done better back then, but it definitely was a decent income for us.
Obviously, if you don't want to initially upfront invest in a ton of stock, it's a nice way to get the ball rolling, to figure out if there's demand for the product. Then if you are, all of a sudden you can reinvest some of your initial profit into manufacturing your own, and then increase your profit margin by like 80%.
And that's exactly what we did.
8 times. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Yeah, and it worked out very well. Is to start a blog.
Starting a blog.
What a roller coaster.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
So blogging is very controversial. I've heard of so many people starting a blog, and their wife or their husband or their mom or their brother are like, "You are always on your computer. You're never going to make any money. Why don't you get a real job? You can't sit all day on your computer and type." And that might have been true a few years ago, but today it's not. Really, people are making a killing with blogs.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, so starting out, well, I think either way, consistency is very important. So obviously, a lot of people watching this video, they won't be able to do 8 hours a day. So I don't want to put it more. But like one thing that Jim Harper from Ecom School mentioned: if you wake up 5 o'clock every single morning and you write an article before you go to work, I mean, get into that habit. You will be successful. You will be, sooner or later. Like it might take a year, but it will replace your salary. And like, I don't want to get into the numbers too much, but I mean, Jim Harper and what's the other guy's name? Anyways, Jim Harper and his team, like they frequently start new blogs, and then after like 15 months, like the blog is making like $2,000 a month. So it's very, very possible.
That's in South African rands. It's about 30,000 rand.
Yeah.
And if your blog is orientated to the States, you're leveraging the dollar, which is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Like $2,000 in America, like, you might not replace your full-time income yet. But in South Africa, I mean, what is your average income in South Africa? Probably like 10,000. Maybe
a bachelor could do pretty well on that, 100%.
Exactly.
You have to just keep up with your expenses while you build the business more.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice about this. Your income, let's say, for example, you do get to a point where you can replace your salary and resign from a job and take your blogging more seriously, where you can pump out 3 articles a day, where you can maybe expand into YouTube videos for your blog.
You start hiring freelance writers.
Yeah, you could really, I mean, that would just be your starting salary, so to speak. You could easily double your salary 12 months after that, just based on the amount of content you'll be able to put out.
Exactly. The time it takes you to get a university degree, like if you think about it, it takes like 3 to 4 years to get a university degree. If you spend that time just sitting down, keeping in mind you're not paying a cent for education, sitting down, writing blog content, if you did that for 3-4 years, I mean, you can make more money than you ever dreamed of. It's ridiculous how much you can make.
Certainly more money that by the end of those 3 or 4 years, you'd make a lot more money every month than you would have getting a new job with a degree.
Sure. It'd probably be, I mean, at a minimum, you'll be making 20 to 30,000 rand a month.
Absolutely.
Where that's at a minimum. But your friends in school, they come out of university in debt. I mean, choose your pick.
Earn a measly salary.
Yeah, exactly.
So blogging really is, it's got a bit of a stigma that it's not really a real job, but it's not like that. It really is. You just got to take it seriously and be consistent. That's probably don't expect results in 2-3 months. That's what a lot of bloggers, I think, are doing. They think they're going to earn like a whole salary after 3 months of blogging. And really, it requires a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason why most bloggers give up, because they get to month 8 and they're like, I'm not seeing results. This is not going to work, and they give up. Whereas, the ones that do make it successful, they just keep going.
Keep going. And we've even noticed niches that we thought are just dead in the water are actually starting to show some good results. So there really is, there's loads of opportunity for people to be entering into blogging. And what's nice about, like Calvin said earlier, you can do it early in the morning before work. You can do it if you're at school, if you're a 16-year-old at school, there's nothing stopping you from starting a blog.
Yeah.
And if you have a hobby, why not take what you know and put it on paper and stick it on a blog?
Instead of doing your math homework, write a blog. I'm not advocating to do your homework. So probably the biggest thing that we learned through blogging, and just to give you guys a bit of like a backstory, we've been blogging for about 3 years, but we only really decided to take it seriously about 8 months ago. What we did was we hired like 5 freelance writers. And in the space of 8 months, we got like 650 articles written. And so, I mean, the results are nearly as good as I expected. But I think the kind of biggest thing we learned from that was don't rush the content. Stop summarizing the internet and try to get involved in whatever you're writing about and write unique, valuable content, and just try to provide as much value as possible online. We could have said, like in our mind, we were all about, just taking action and getting the numbers through. But I would have said, if that was 200 well-written original articles, I would have been a lot happier. And that's the actual biggest shift we're doing from next year, January, is we're going to train up our writers in the niche and get original content written. Biggest piece of advice.
It really helps to write what you already know very well. Having said that, you also want to be sure that there is a requirement for what you're writing. You also want to be sure that the competition isn't absolutely fierce, so that you're just never going to be seen. But it does help to know the subject, and if that involves you having to learn a new hobby, so be it. See it as an opportunity to have a bit of fun with it.
So the best place to start, hands down, Income School. Just go into YouTube, type Income School. they are brilliant. They'll teach you everything you need to know, like how to check for competition, what formats your blog should be in, literally every kind of roadblock you'll come across, they'll have an answer for it.
And obviously the actual course, highly recommend becoming a paid member.
I mean, so
Highly recommended.
you can get the course is pretty expensive, so it's about 7,000 rand for lifetime access, but you can get started definitely on the content that they provide on YouTube. And then when you get to that point where you can afford Project 24, which is a community they have, then definitely highly recommend that. They do provide a ton of value in the YouTube video, enough to get started.
Loads, yeah. I mean, we were applying a lot of their principles before we even did the course, or before we bought the Project 24.
And a lot of those articles did pretty well.
In fact, we took one of our blogs that we wrote before we were members of Project 24, and just using the YouTube videos from Income School, we made the adjustments, and we saw a huge increase in our existing revenue in one of our blogs on AdSense. So it's not an absolute requirement. You can't afford it, don't let it put you off. But if you can, and if you're finished school and you don't want to go to university, but you want to spend some money on some sort of education, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, 100%.
In fact, I wish I could go back in time and do it myself.
Yeah, it's funny how there's a stigma that, people feel funny and weird about spending money on online courses, but they're more than happy to walk into a university. I don't know how much university degrees are, but I'm assuming they're like
about 15,000 rand a year.
How much?
At university, 15 grand a year.
Yeah,
that was when I was younger. It's probably more now.
And I'm guessing that doesn't include textbooks and all of that good stuff.
Travel, you got to get there.
Yeah. All you need is an internet connection.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, go to a coffee shop.
Yeah. Bring your earphones and just use the free Wi-Fi.
Yeah. McDonald's, I think they got free Wi-Fi.
Do they?
Or Spur. I used to go to Spur.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's no excuse these days.
Yeah,
there's no excuse.
Really not. Okay,
man.
Then last but not least, this is definitely our favorite, one that has treated us very well.
Yes.
And one that we wrote a full guide about. So after this video, guys, make sure you check out the link in the description. It's called How to Start a Small Business Online in South Africa, Beginner's E-Commerce Guide. So after this, I highly recommend you check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude, go for it.
So e-commerce.
Do you want to say what
I mean, I guess e-commerce is like drop shipping, like we spoke about earlier, but you basically selling your own product. So for us, drop shipping or selling other people's product was a nice stepping stone towards e-commerce. E-commerce does need a bit of a upfront investment. It's quite a technical thing. We need to understand how to work Shopify, how to set up a store, how to do product fulfillment. You have to get in touch with couriers. It's quite a big deal to set up, but it's very, very rewarding. It's something that you can do on your own. It's something you can do from home. If you're wanting to scale it to a large business, you'll eventually have to get more space for your stock. You'd have to get some staff. But you can do really well on your own to start off. What are your thoughts on it?
Pretty much what you said. It's a bit of know-how getting started. The nice thing about it is once you do have everything set up, especially in South Africa, you're dealing with a very uncompetitive market compared to America. You can make money back pretty quickly. Like it's not uncommon people starting e-commerce stores in South Africa and being profitable from week one. I mean, in fact, we've done that quite a few times with Harmonic Health, I mean, that was instantly profitable.
Yes, that's right.
So the probably walking into e-commerce, the biggest tip I can give you is you need to have a brilliant product, and a brilliant offer. The biggest mistake we made walking into e-commerce was, let's just sell anything we can get our hands on. Like literally, we didn't put any thought into our product selection. We didn't think like, okay, once the user gets this product in their hands, is it actually going to work? It was a matter of, yeah, it was a matter of, oh, this is pretty cool. Let's try to sell this. So going back, I would have definitely put a lot more research and investment into my product selection. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to, it's like a normal business. If you do something that doesn't work or people just don't like, whether it's from day one or a year from now, your business will fail. So yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing to keep in mind.
I couldn't agree more. And all of the aspects, right from your Facebook marketing, which you're going to have to learn if you're going to get into this game. Right down to your customer service. Having a good product that brings a lot of value and actually does what you claim it to do, you're going to make your life so much easier. It's the difference between actually losing money and making a killing. And when I say losing money, it's quite easy for that to happen. It's quite easy if your marketing isn't on point, if your product is horrible, you could quite easily spend more on ads than what you're making from your profits. And you could run yourself into the ground. You've got to be really careful with the product selection.
Sure.
And it really is, it's a machine. It's not just I've got an online store and I sell a product. It's way more intricate. It's a lot of the things we spoke about earlier combined into one skill set. You're talking about customer service. You're talking about Facebook page management. Talking about your Facebook ads. You're talking about product fulfillment, getting in touch with couriers, automation if you're going to eventually scale to that level. Email marketing, copywriting. It's very, very intricate and it takes a long time to set up, especially as a single person. If you're teaming up with someone, you could definitely kind of fast track a lot of it if you delegate the tasks efficiently. But definitely, it's rewarding, but you definitely need to put the work up front.
Yeah, and I would like to emphasize that the rewarding part, especially when you sell a product that you're proud of. Like, wow, it can be rewarding. When the reviews start coming in, people start sending you selfies of them using the product.
Very fulfilling.
Like, for example. So that's probably one of our favorite brands. People literally, they take it to Dubai. So it's pretty much like a serving platter. You can throw your meats in like a man's serving platter. And people have been taking it camping, to beaches, to Dubai. On holidays overseas.
In Australia, we've seen bright planks in America.
Yeah. So like that,
they're getting quite popular.
Yeah. So that part of the business can be very rewarding when you do. But that all boils down back to the product. Like if you do a product, if you find a product that you're really passionate about and you know that's going to help a lot of people, that will kind of trickle down throughout the business. It's easier to market. It's easier to run Facebook ads. It's easier on your customer service department. People, if your orders are delayed a bit, people don't mind as much because when they do receive it, it's a brilliant product. So it really affects the entire business.
I couldn't agree more. There's a lot of products that I would never touch with a 10-foot pole. I would never sell, for example, Chinese electronics. I never sell controversial products.
Apparel because of the amount of returns.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
As it is already, our most popular product, Brightplank, even gets returns. So you can bet that a horrible product is going to have such a high rate of return and refund rate that you're just going to run yourself to the ground. You're going to spend all your money on stock, all of your money on ads, and everything's just going to come back to you, and you'll have to refund everyone.
And then, I mean,
you'll end up with a
that's
loss.
just the physical aspect, like the emotion, like the effect it has on you emotionally. I mean, that's a whole different ball game. Like you get to a point where you can't sleep at night. You wake up in the morning and you feel like you hate your job. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't sell crap. There's a saying in online marketing is you can't polish a turd. So when you're starting out with a turd of a product, it doesn't matter what sales message you use or what pictures you take or online marketing. It's going to be like trying to swim upstream. So just swim downstream. Yeah. Find something that's awesome.
If the product is not doing well, just humble yourself and choose something else.
Yeah. I wish we could follow our own advice.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we learn our lessons. And that's why we're sharing this video. So other people don't have to make the same mistake.
Exactly.
Sell a product you love and a product that other people are going to love.
Yeah.
You should have that conviction.
Yeah. And so if you're wondering, I mean, so they might be wondering, like, how do you know people will love the product? Definitely start with drop shipping. Don't invest. It's very dangerous to feel like, because you like something, everybody else is going to like it. Rather find a way that you can find a similar product and in South Africa and drop ship it, knock up a relationship with a company in South Africa and then drop ship it. See if people want it. Test out the market, and then once you've proven product market fit, then you can look at manufacturing your own and scale from there.
And if your idea is very unique and you do insist on manufacturing, just do a test batch first.
Yeah, you can start with 10 units.
Yeah, just do 10 units, advertising. Keep an eye on how much you're spending on ads. Is it profitable at 10 units? It's not going to be profitable actually because you need a bit more than that to adjust and learn more about your customer. But it will give you a very good indication, especially the response from your customers. You're going to have good reviews or bad reviews.
Yeah, exactly. There's more than enough review apps. The reviews coming through on Takealot and on your store. I mean, if majority of them are like 3 or below, then you're probably sitting on a crap product, or you're doing something wrong in your business. More than likely product related.
That's easy to also mistake. I mean, if your shipping is a bit slow, just know the difference. Just know where the problem is. Keep an eye on all the different elements of your business and be sure.
Cool. Best place to get started. I mean, I wrote that guide that I told you guys about, so definitely check that out. Apart from that, follow other online experts like Ezra Firestone. He's pretty good at giving e-commerce advice. Ryan Dice. I mean, he's more into like info product space, but we do a lot of stuff that he does.
What you could also do is find awesome companies that are doing what you want to do. I know one of your favorites, Carmen, is Skin Kits. Just see how they do. Order something from them and learn about the experiences that a customer receives and try to imitate that with your own product. There's a reason why these guys are the best. You might as well learn from them. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. Doing that can cost you hundreds of thousands, even millions over the course of a few years. It's so worth it just learning from the best.
And earnings potential, I mean, varies heavily. But I mean, you can make, as we said, you can lose money up front. And once you do get good at it, I mean, the sky's the limit. Just depending on how good you are at setting up a business, creating automated workflows, and then it's just up to the individual, how far you want to take it. literally the sky's the limit.
Sure, man. Really, it is. It's definitely something that can open a lot of opportunities. With the amount of revenue that you can run through, you really can make a name for yourself and expand into other types of business, which you would never have been able to afford before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe we can do a video on e-commerce altogether, especially for that.
Yeah, I think we should. I think, yeah, guys. So make sure you subscribe. And also hit up the like button. So I don't even know what the Zoom recording is going to look like.
Somewhere. I don't know where they are.
We're down there.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. So that you don't miss our next video. I think next time we'll dive deep into e-commerce. I'll explain this guide a bit more in detail, because there's just so many different elements. So what we'll do is we'll break out all the different elements to an e-commerce store. I think we'll focus on the technical aspect of how to get started online, like setting up a website and all that, and choosing a product. And then later videos we can talk about shipping and all of that.
Yes, there's a lot of, we can break it down into parts because it can get in very, 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 very detailed. But also, if there's any questions, I mean, we've got the comment section. People can leave questions that we can make sure we cover that. We do cover the video.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
That's it for today, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Everyone with our next video on e-commerce. Excited.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Cheers.